Here are my top 4 books of 2024. Coming in at number 4, we have Little Fires Everywhere. I have not stopped thinking about this book since I read it, I think like back in May. It's probably one of my favorite literary fiction books that I've ever read. It dealt with a lot of really heavy topics, but in a really masterful way. The whole book was an art piece. The way it was written, the thoughts flowed in the way that questions would arise in my mind. They would be immediately answered in the book. I cannot say enough good things about it. Number 3 is Check and Me by Ali Hazelwood. This was my first Ali Hazelwood book and my first like real romance book, like standalone romance book. It really opened the door for me to get into romance as a genre without having fantasy or another like mystery as like a subgenre. I really enjoyed it the entire time I read it, which went by really fast. I loved the characters and will always say good things about this book. Number 2 is The Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. It is the 3rd book in the Last Hour series, which is a prequel series to the original Mortal Instruments Shadowhunters novels. This book made real tears fall from my eyes, and I don't cry a ton at books, but the fact that I cried at this one, the whole trilogy was so beautiful. It was so well written. I loved the characters in this book. I loved the romance in this book, found family in this book, like everything about it I absolutely loved. And finally, my number 1 book of 2024 was A Court of Wings and Ruin. It was my first time reading ACOTAR this year, and this was my favorite book of the whole series. It had the fantasy elements that I love as a fantasy reader, of the war and planning and just all the politics of it, but it also was so in depth with the characters and the found family and the romance and just everything about romantasy that I love was in this book. I'm so glad I finally read it. It was my favorite book of the year. If you haven't read any of these, I definitely recommend. Please give them a shot. They were 5 stars for me, and I hope they will be for you as well.